Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the stock market update video, and I'll be doing the commodities update tomorrow in the morning. And let's take a look at more detail today with the stock market. We'll be looking at QQQ, S&P 500, Tesla, NVIDIA, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta, as well as being a bunch of datas and what's most likely scenario that we will be heading into later next week. All right, let's take a look at the datas first. So this is the economic data for next week, and Jerome is going to be speaking again on Wednesday. So pretty much he spoke yesterday, and I would say he's a lot more hawkish yesterday than he usually is. But we'll see if he stays the same on Wednesday. And it's because of the recent data, the job data and economy coming in hotter, making him a little bit more hawkish is my guess. And obviously GDP is going to be a big one as well. So we'll be looking at this MPCE as well. And currently no forecast yet, but we got previously 3.9%. Well, this forecast will probably come out a little bit closer next week. So we'll see what the estimate is going to be. And ideally, this is what we want to see, lower than 3.9 for the inflation data. So we'll see if that does come in. And fear ingredient index currently at 26, almost back to extreme fear again. And if it starts to get into the low 20s, then it's a good time to take off some shorts, especially when it gets too extreme on either sides. But as of now, it's still at 26, so not that big of a deal yet. And earnings. So earnings is going to be pretty much dictating the probably next week's direction. We get Microsoft, Alphabet, and Meta, and Amazon reporting decently or in line, then market may bounce here. We may potentially get a end of the year rally. But if these guys all report, lackluster, some misses here and there, right? They're going to drag down the market even more, and we're going to be confirming a weekly downtrend if that happens. We'll go into the chart in a second. I'll show you guys the weekly downtrend if it occurs, of course. And Visa is also quite important as well. We'll be seeing how people are spending overall in the economy, and how much credit people are using credit to make their ends meet. And we've got some semiconductor as well, Intel coming in. Yeah, so just take a look, screenshot it. AI sentiment data, a lot more neutral now. You can see the bulls kind of just, everybody's confused. So everybody just kind of shift into the neutral because they don't know which side to really go for at the moment. So it's pretty much 30, 30, 30. And yeah, I mean, earnings coming up. We have macro news around the world, which is extremely confusing. All these things going on, bonds, at as lowest as it's been. And yeah, it's a crazy week. All right, let's take a look at the technicals. So right now we are back to pretty much this low. So ideally, we don't want to break that low because go to the weekly chart, right? So we're currently in a weekly downtrend. So it did make sense that we rejected from this level. So this is the move up, down, pivot being set, right? This low was lower than this low. And then we broke below this prior low. So that's a weekly downtrend right here, confirming. Bounced. This low is still lower than this low. So now we have a drop here. If we do break below this low, right, at around this 351.36, that's just a weekly downtrend continuing, right? But if the bulls are able to hold above this low and negate the weekly downtrend, and bounce from here, then we may potentially come back up to retest this high. Well, that's only if we can negate that weekly downtrend, confirming. As of now, zero signs of that forming at the moment. For that to happen, we need to have a daily bounce here and a potential daily trend change back to the bulls like we did over here, and potentially negate that weekly downtrend. And even if we zoom into the even smaller time frame, we want to see the hourly charts. This is the very, very first step for a bulls to shift momentum is to get an hourly uptrend. We can't even get over the 12 EMA. You can see the teal looking line, which is the exponential moving average, and you type in 12, you get this teal looking line. So that's EMA 12, and we can't even get over that. See how many times we have rejected from it. This is only the hourly charts, right? So that's how weak the bulls has been in the last 3 trading sessions. So the first thing I want to see is as bounce get over 12 EMA, form an hourly uptrend for us to even say the daily bounce is on the way. Currently, zero signs of bounce. You can see we closed up pretty much the low of the day, and after hours was still a little bit red as well. So a daily, so an hourly uptrend would look something like this: big bounce, pivot being set, broke above the prior high, hourly uptrend. You see it continuing, right? And now we're in an hourly downtrend. The first step I want to see, hourly uptrend form here for a potential bounce. And we need to get over 12 EMA. Like if we can't even get over 12 EMA, then we're not going anywhere. We're just going to be kind of like trending down like that, right? With the line. All right, let's take a look at SPY. Wait, let's see if, so yes, ideally we hold this support for QQQ, pretty much where we closed. That's the low of this structure, but we can come down to this triple bottom right here at 353.21. If we break this right there, we're coming back down to 353.31. And that doesn't hold, then we're going to come to that weekly support right there for the bulls. For the bulls, definitely want to hold this between 345 and 353 right there, this zone. Bulls. And the last level of support is obviously here. Maybe we'll get like a weekly break without follow through and V-shape from there. But that's still not looking good for the bulls because then on the weekly charts, we have a weekly downtrend continuing. But we may get some kind of a weekly downtrend confirming, lacking follow through, but that we're still like, what? Let's see. So about like another 1% away. So we need another big red day for that. All right, let's take a look at SPY. SPY, similar to QQQ. See the EMA 12 and cannot get over that. We have not closed a single candle above EMA 12 for the hourly charts. So as long as bulls cannot get over that, bulls aren't getting anywhere. And we are on the verge of breaking weekly support for SPY. You can see SPY's already LOA testing down here, while QQQ still have some little bit of room, like a 1% room left, but SPY has no room left, 0.22%. Right, even the after hours looks like we're about to pretty much get close to that level right there. So yeah, so essentially SPY needs to bounce exactly right here, form a double bottom on the daily charts, something like pretty much exactly right here, maybe a W. Bottom bounce is the last hope for bulls, and we close below the 200-day moving average, which is not a good sign, which is a yellow looking line. So ideally for the bulls, we want to get over that Monday because we don't want to stay below the 200-day moving average for too long. If it was just, Monday we gap up above it, and that's a bear break, lacking follow through. And then, but if we start closing below the 200-day moving average a lot longer, and then comes back up, retest it, and then reject the 200-day moving average, then that's a pretty big red flag, and bears are in full control. So we'll see about that. Currently, bears are in full control. If you can't even get over the hourly 12 EMA, hourly downtrend is your guide, and bears are absolutely in full control at the moment. Tesla, bear flag confirming today from yesterday's bear flag after we dropped below that 218. Right there, it confirmed another bear flag. So right now we are at below this pivot, so that's not a good sign. And same thing, hourly chart cannot get over 12 EMA. As well, I can see been trending down, rejected there, reject here, reject there. Can't get over the 12 EMA. You know what? It's definitely not going anywhere. And yeah, 16% drop. Ideally, this is pretty much where bulls want to bounce 210 because we're coming back to this structure right here, already top of the structure where it was acting as resistance. So we want to see adequate support. If it doesn't flush through that sign, we're probably going to come down to this 200 level, psychological level zone. We are a little bit oversold, but market is weak, and that earnings call definitely not helping Tesla. So it's more of a catalyst and plus macro environment at the same time, making this drop very significant. So yeah, so be careful if you're a bull, you want that looking to add, just wait till at least you get over the 12 EMA, right? Otherwise, it's really not going anywhere. If you can't get over the 12 EMA, it's just gonna keep trending down. And ideally, see this bounce right here, and now we have the pivot being set. Ideally, we break above this pivot high on Monday and back over above the EMA 12 for us to say that can be the temporary bottom. We could get a daily bounce and then roll back over as well. So we have to see how large that daily bounce is. If it's still a bear flag on the daily, right? But that would just means that there's a temporary bottom being set if we do get the hourly uptrend back to bull's favor. All right, let's take a look at the video here. Well, pretty much that head and shoulders is shaping up. I would not have guessed it would happen this fast when we were talking about it a couple weeks ago. While we're trending up, right? I was talking about this while this thing was going up over here, that we may potentially get a head and shoulders. And essentially we dropped 9% in 1 week, which I did not expect to be that fast. But we were looking for the head and shoulders for a while. So we were quite prepared for this one. And pretty much we almost testing this low right here. Pivot low. If we break that pivot low, we're coming back down to this low. And that's pretty much the neckline support. That breaks, that's a confirmed head and shoulders on the weekly. And that will give us a weekly downtrend if we break that pivot right there. We don't want, bulls definitely want to hold this pivot, which pretty much where we're currently at this given moment. If we break this pivot, the weekly downtrend is confirming. And when weekly downtrend confirms, it gives bears more momentum to potentially break that neckline. Yeah, it's a lot of places where bulls pretty much need to show up exactly Monday. Otherwise, there's a lot of weekly trends, downtrends going to start confirming, and it will change the bigger picture overall. Obviously, earnings is going to dictate a lot of these directions next week, but technicals aren't looking great. Bears are in full control, trending that down on those EMA 12s. All right, Apple here. So Apple couldn't get over 177 for a couple of days, and now dropped with the market today. So let's take a look, see if we're getting more. Let's leave this. It's also, let's see if we have any more uptrending trend lines that we could potentially look at. Let's see. Nope, don't like that one at all. This one. Don't like that one as well. But if those are just 2 touches, but if this comes down, bounces exactly from there, then we have a 3 touch. But currently we don't, so we don't want to be guessing where that 3rd touch is going to be. So, all right, let's take a look here. So we're pretty much coming back to this structure, which is also the current of this structure. So ideally, bulls want to break hold 171 because that is a low of this current structure and this structure, which it held prior. And now we're going into it again. And hourly. So hourly chart, no signs of bounce yet as well. Pretty much give back all of this bounce. And we just shy of breaking the low today, but could be a double bottom here, but I don't see it at the moment because this is hours and then 0 signs of bounce at the moment anyways, unless on Sunday futures gap up, but we'll see about that. Apple's not reporting next week, so we'll have to see how the other ones report, and maybe Apple will get dragged up or down by it. But same thing, we use the hourly chart trend for our guide. Currently, hourly is in a downtrend, and as long as hourly stays in a downtrend, bears are in absolute full control. And let's see here. Amazon also coming back to the low of its structure as well, back down here. cluster and this cluster. Both held support and then bounced, but now we're back in it again. So let's see the trend line. Let's see. Let me use this one. I do like this one, but let's take just a little bit here. And these sideways trend lines are always for visual guides. Horizontal ones are the ones that are more definite because those horizontal ones, everyone's are looking at those ones. Sideways, you can draw it any way you want. You could be 1 degree off, 2 degrees off, and your prices, everyone's price is going to be different. But these are visual guides, so you can see we have support here, bounce off of here as well, and now we're pretty much just on it. So ideally, bulls pretty much show up on Monday as well. So a lot of charts where bulls pretty much need to show up on Monday. Otherwise, we're going to break below these pivots. And these pivot lows, so that's the last thing we want to see around these 1, 2, 4 zone. Early chart, same thing, 0 signs of bounce, can't get over EMA 12, and no early uptrend yet either. This was a big enough bounce where they could have confirmed an early uptrend, but bulls gave it all back into the end of the day, closed at the low of the day for most of the tech stocks. So back to square one. They need to hit another bounce again, where it's big enough where they can potentially change the hourly trend. Something like this one. Big enough bounce, right? They have rooms, even if it drops a little bit, we can change the trend. Now, no signs of yet any bulls showing up. Google's bear break. You can see this is a tiny range. See this little triangle, tiny range. And then once it broke that 12 EMA, boom, it dropped. But we are pretty much holding 135 support, which is this prior level. I mean, no complaints for Google's bulls. Pretty much we are still all the way up here, even though we dropped 1.5% today. But it makes sense. Market has been dropping like 3-4 days, and Google finally rolled over as well with it. And now it's an hourly downtrend. So as long as hourly downtrend is intact over here, confirming it, following through, no signs of bounces at the moment. But we are at the support. You can see all this resistance over here, bounces here. So if bulls can't hold this 135, then we're likely potentially rolling over back down to this 133 zone. So we'll see about that. All right, Microsoft. Microsoft could not get over this downtrending resistance line for 4 days here. You can see how many times we tested it, right? Talked about that. I want to see a candle close above it, and none of it closed above it. We just went above it and ended up closing below it. So I want to see it close, but we didn't. And we have rejected again. So doesn't mean it's game over for bulls, but ideally we want to hold above 324 and 322, bounce from there and try it again. This resistance line. Same thing, hourly trend will be our guide. Hourly currently in a downtrend, so no signs of bounce yet. So Microsoft did held better end of the day. You can see this bounce did not hit, this drop did not hit the low of the day, so Microsoft has a chance to break above that pivot to confirm an hourly uptrend now. Other tech stocks went to its low of the day. Meta, same thing. See this big enough bounce more than the other techs, and that it has room now, even on this drop, where it can still confirm hourly uptrend if we do break above this pivot, right? We'll see if Meta bulls can do that. If they can do that, then it's a good sign because we're bouncing off of this support where we have been looking at multiple times. Support, this maroon looking line, support, bounce off there 5 times, bounce off of there again, right? So we want to see hourly uptrend confirm here, bouncing off the support at the same time, 2 confluence of signal together, then we may get more follow through for the bulls. So we'll see about that. All right, that's all I got for you guys. I will do the commodities video tomorrow, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you guys have made it this far, or support the channel. And yeah, so a lot of big picture weekly trends that we want to be holding today's support. And if we don't, then bears have more follow through to go. So as well as earnings would obviously dictate market direction. If you got any questions, feel free to comment below and ask. And have a great rest of the weekend. I'll see you guys on tomorrow.